go through with you today why I believe that Todge and Nutt's marriage is not valid. Therefore, a divorce and separation neither would be valid. Also, the fact that their children would not have titles, will not be entitled to have royal titles, and hence the creation of those children. Now, I'm going to go through each step of legitimizing a royal marriage, and we're going to go through and I'm going to explain with each step how there seems to be gaps or holes in each step that make this not so valid, this marriage. So let's start off with the formal consent by the monarch. So under the Royal Marriages Act 1772, all descendants of King George II, regardless of their position in the line of succession, had to get consent from the monarch. Now, the monarch's consent is typically formalized through a declaration in a Privy Council meeting. And each, I think every country under the head of state, like in the Commonwealth, has to represent, has to be participating in the Privy Council meeting, and there has to be, and they have to approve of the marriage. The reason why I say this is because the Prime Minister of Australia was there for the Deputy Prime Minister, J.D. Anthony, MP, represented the Australian government at the Privy Council meeting being held in London on 27th of March 1981 to approve the marriage of Charles and Diana. Believe it or not, this was the last time that Australia, the government of Australia, participated within the Privy Council to approve a royal marriage. Since then, so since 2011, mind you, up until 2013, this law, this Act of Royal Marriages Act 1772 was valid, where any descendant of King George II needed consent from the Privy Council and therefore by the monarch. Now, so what I'm trying to say is 2005, the marriage of Charles and Camilla. 2011, the marriage of Catherine and William. 2011? 2018, the marriage of Harry and Meghan. Not one representative of my government went over to be a part of that Privy Council to give consent. Furthermore, when the instrument of consent has been published by the monarchy of these marriages, there's no discussion about the Privy Council. There was a post I saw of that the Privy Council approved the marriage of Camilla and Charles, but no one from my government was there. If you look you can look at PM transcripts, so under our government website, which is what I found here, there's no other transcripts for a wedding. There are transcripts for the gifts, For example, $10,000 for Invictus Games for Harry and Meghan for the marriage. But there is no one representing Australia, which would have been a given, going over to the UK on the day that these consents were given to approve the consent, to give consent of these marriages. So that's a strong indication already that there doesn't seem to be a process of the Privy Council being involved. I could be very wrong. There may be information out there that shows that, but I can't see anything in terms of this happening. On to the website of the royal.uk exact page for the consent given to Harry and Meghan for their wedding. And it says here that under the 2013 succession to the Crown Act, so that was the law that succeeded the Royal Marriages Act 1772, which is very coincidental when you think about it, because 2013, so when the Queen knew that William was married off by 2011, she changed the law from all descendants of King George II, regardless of their position in line of succession, they required consent. And then she changed it to the first 6 royals in the line of succession. Full stop, period. So by law, Harry doesn't need to be a descendant of King George II. Do you get my drift? That's a very interesting point to make. So she changed the law really for Harry and Meghan's wedding because it wasn't done prior. Very, very interesting. And so that under that law, she made a declaration at the meeting of the Privy Council on the 14th of March 2018, but I don't see any transcripts, especially from the Australian government, discussing that meeting. I don't see any photographs of the Queen in that meeting with other Privy Council members. I haven't seen any details of that meeting and who was invited or who participated in it and gave consent. That's a pretty strong indicator that this is not what it seems. So let me just go up. Now this is the consent given. Now mind you, it's very interesting that only William and Catherine and Harry and Meghan have had these consents, these visuals, these aesthetic consents actually shown publicly. I find that odd. I don't know if this is meant to happen. I don't even know if this is I'm sure this is legitimate. This looks like it's from the College of Arms, probably by Tim Noard, who is the calligrapher for the Queen. Was the calligrapher for the Queen, and they have the specific coat of arms that only are certifiable by the College of Arms London. So it's very, very specialised. It's very legitimate. They're the ones who do calligraphy and the coat of arms for all of the Crown companies and corporations and liveries and so forth. Now, there's some slight changes with this one compared to Catherine and William's. What I find interesting is, firstly, the crown below here, I'm guessing it's below on the left I'm talking about, below the thistle, the rose, and the shamrock, representing, is it North Ireland, Scotland, England. I don't know why the the red dragon is there because that usually represents the Prince of Wales. I know you're probably going to say, well, that's Wales, but if you see to the right, the leek of Wales is representing Wales. And I don't know why the red dragon is there. But that's meant to represent Harry's, in a way, arms or identity on the left. And then on the right, it's meant to represent the unification of Meghan and Harry with those golden poppies from California. The issue with this is there's no crown that ties this, and I'll show you the difference between this one and Catherine and William. There's no actual flow of this. There's something odd. I don't know enough about heraldry to be able to explain to you what is missing exactly, or that this isn't correct, but it just doesn't look correct from what I've seen, even in comparison to William and Catherine's. They have their initials, they have the crown, instead of that label, the collar that represents that Harry is fifth in line to the throne with the escallops of the Spencer family. There's, how would you say, there's meant to be a crown there. And instead of anything representing the crown, you've got the Commonwealth flag. Now, that is odd. That is extremely odd to have the Commonwealth flag. It's almost saying that America is a Commonwealth nation. I find that very, very odd, very strange. It looks like America is a Commonwealth nation. The fact that the US has a special relationship with Commonwealth nations doesn't really mean anything to me, and it doesn't legitimize or validate the reason as to why this flag is in this this consent instrument, let's say, and it doesn't explain why there's no crown either. So it's very, 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 very odd. Yeah, I'm sure there might be little holes in the writing or I'm just not that well equipped, so I have to let you know that. But that Commonwealth flag is very, very strange. I've already done a video, which I might put in the comments, about the coat of arms given to Meghan before they were married. That it's non-conjugal in a way. It doesn't actually represent the unification of Harry and Meghan, and doesn't really legitimize their unification. It's not meant to it's not meant to legitimize the unification. Actually, it's meant to be Meghan's family's coat of arms, and yet her identity and her coat of arms used, which is now the Sussex Royal website representing their logo, which is strange because it's just Meghan's coat of arms, is actually, it has all the symbolism of Harry's coat of arms, and that is strange. It's almost saying that she is an asset of the crown or asset of the royal family, the monarchy, and Prince Harry, that she does not have a singular identity and any legitimacy. So that's strange. Let me go back and I'm going to show you the can I search? The consent of William and Catherine. It was signed by the Queen herself, signed with her own hand at a Privy Council meeting after the monarch made a formal declaration of consent. That's also strange because you can't make a formal declaration of consent without the Privy Council's consent. That is very strange. Her Majesty gave formal consent to Prince William and Catherine Middleton's marriage today. It's just strange that it's just the monarch and the Queen. Obviously, it's important, like no doubt about it, but it's strange. Oh, it's not there. Let me get that up for you. This is what I was talking about before, is that in this post here, 2nd of March 2005, the Privy Council met to give effect to Queen Elizabeth II's consent to the marriage. I guess maybe she can declare the marriage first and then the Privy Council approves. Maybe that's how it works, the actual process within the process. So maybe I'm wrong there. But the Privy Council has to give effect to her consent for it to be valid. In provisions of the Royal Marriages Act 1772, which was still valid in 2005, and by 2013, just before Harry and Nut, and around the time that Nut was contracted, they changed the laws. This is the consent by the Queen for William and Catherine's marriage. Now, the dragon, the Welsh dragon, is not even a part of William's coat of arms. This is why I find it very strange. I understand he has the Order of the Garter because Prince Harry is not yet under the Order of the Garter, but William is. And so he has the Order of the Garter belt with the shamrock, thistle, and rose representing Ireland, Scotland, and England. And then it has a crown above it. Usually the crown above it is for the heir, or the child of the heir apparent, but I think it's the, I think it's to symbolize the fact that he's actually in line to the throne. And then you've got the three collared label with the leek to show that he's the third. I think he's the third in line at that time, and the one a scallop of the Spencer family. And the white lilies are to represent Saint Catherine. So that's the symbolism of Catherine. But do you see how it's all separated? And do you see how it's in line? So the leek of Wales, which represents William with his collar label representing his mother and his lineage to the throne. Then has the initials Catherine and William. Then has the crown on top of that, which is the child of the heir apparent. And then has the white lilies representing Catherine. That's how it's meant to look. It's not meant to be this bundle. And it's meant to have a crown, signifying the kind of royal marriage. Very, very strange. But you can see there's some differences here. What I find interesting is that St. George's Chapel is a church owned by the monarch. It is not a parish chapel owned by the diocese. And so there's no bishop that kind of governs it or, legitimizes things. It's all for state visits. It's actually a church for the Order of the Garter. In a way, I just find that strange, the lack of symbolism there, because Prince Harry is not in the Order of the Garter. So I find it odd that there would be a marriage there of the fifth in line. I get other marriages. I get like relatives and descendants and cousins and so forth, but I don't get why Harry would be marrying in the church specifically used for events and visits for the the Order of the Garter. And also that isn't legitimised under the diocese of the Church of England. Yeah, I find that strange. Another quite important little thing to note is the changes in laws between the Royal Marriages Act 1772 and the 2013 Marriage Act, which is funny because of the Crown Succession to the Crown Act 2013, because it doesn't actually say Royal Marriages Act. Again, just the changing in wording is interesting. So it wasn't just that the only people now requiring consent instead of all descendants of King George II, and now it's like not even linking anyone to being a descendant of King George II. It's just the first 6 individuals in line to the throne. It also the marriage, when with the 1772 Act, the Royal Marriages 1772 Act, if the descendant was married without permission, just to prevent unsuitable or politically disadvantageous marriages among the royal family. So if the marriage was entered into without the sovereign's consent, it was deemed automatically invalid. There was a provision that allowed individuals aged 25 or older to marry without consent if they had given 12 months prior notice to the Privy Council and Parliament. And Parliament did not expressly forbid the marriage during that time, right? But with this new act, funnily and weirdly enough, the marriage is considered valid even if one of the first 6 individuals marries without the monarch's consent. But the individual and their descendants are disqualified from the line of succession. That's interesting. That's an interesting point to make. So in concluding the first step of gaining formal consent by the monarch and the Privy Council, and of course Parliament, there are a few points to make regarding the marriage of Harry and Meghan being questionable. The first is a non-conjugated coat of arms given to Meghan by the College of Arms prior to her marriage, or just prior. That video I can send you a link to. The second is the fact that there seems to be no information about who represented the Privy Council giving the monarch's consent effect. And there was definitely no one from Australian government or Australian Parliament going over and affecting that consent, and hasn't since the marriage of Diana and Charles, which is really, really interesting. Just remember that law didn't change at all up until 2013. And that still doesn't change the formal consent by the monarch. As you can see here visually, it's still necessary as part of law. So yeah, that's all missing. And then the symbolism within the actual formal consent itself, or the instrument of consent, is different to even the formal consent given by Catherine and William. And these formal consents seem to be the only ones made public in the history of the royal family. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen any prior. So it's strange that they have shown this. It's odd that they have had to prove this or show this to state that this has taken effect. I also mentioned that the instrument of consent was drafted by the Crown Office, and they have a full post about detailing the symbolism that I might try to put in the comments below. And another point as well was the change of law just in time for the next real big royal marriage of Harry and Meghan. Okay, so we're on to the second point, which is the Faculty Office marriage license. Now, there's normal commonplace marriage licenses for the royal family, but there's also special licenses. And the special licenses are usually due to the fact that the weddings aren't held at parish churches, and they don't follow the certain rules of a royal marriage. So what happens is it's issued by the Faculty Office of the Archbishop of Canterbury. The license permits the couple to marry at a venue not normally authorised for Church of England marriages, example, a royal chapel. For example, Westminster Abbey? Westminster Abbey or St. George's Chapel are both, I think they're royal peculiars. They are not parish churches. So that's why there's special marriage licenses given by the Faculty Office of the Archbishop of Canterbury for William and Catherine and Harry and Meghan. The special marriage also waives the requirement for banns, public announcements of the marriage. I think it's like 3 Sundays before the actual marriage, and it has to be within their local parishes or civil notice. So that's a requirement, usually speaking, and yet that wasn't a part of neither of those marriages. The Faculty Office drafts the license, including legal and canonical details, names of the couple, the chosen venue, and acknowledgement of royal consent. The license is signed by the registrar of the Faculty Office or the deputy and sealed with the Faculty Office seal. Timing: the license is usually issued shortly before the wedding, for which both did occur. So the license for Harry and Meghan was the 3rd of May, and this one here for William and Kate was the 14th of April. So they were issued before these marriages. This one was signed by the registrar, Peter F.B. Beasley, who was the registrar at the Faculty Office at the time. So this is what they usually look like. Rowan Douglas, I think I've forgotten his last name, but it's Rowan Douglas. Douglas is his middle name. Rowan was the Archbishop of Canterbury who married Catherine and William, and it usually starts off with the name. So if you go back to Diana and Charles' wedding, they have the full name of the Archbishop that married them, and then also for Justin Welby with Harry and Meghan, you've got his middle name and his first name. So Justin Portal, which I'll show you very, very shortly. But this is how they're meant to look. And you can see where the, I can't zoom in, I don't think. Okay, oh, I can. You can see where Beasley signed, right? Okay, so what is so strange about this, the signing of the registrar, that is it Howard Della? Howard Della, this is Howard Della, so he was the registrar at the time. In 2018, he was the one responsible for signing the marriage license at the faculty office of the Archbishop of Canterbury. Now, what's strange is, firstly, that special marriage license, that's why it's so large and there's so much writing, and you know for a fact that that's not publicly available, so you really wonder what's actually in that to make it so long. There has to be some sort of exclusions and arrangements and allowances. Very, very odd. Maybe it's to do with her divorce. Maybe it's, well, she wasn't divorced, so I'm not sure. She wasn't divorced in 2014 or 13, so I'm not sure what that's about. But yeah, it's very strange, right? So there's that. But it's the fact that this post says the registrar has signed the license on the May the 14th, 2018. This license is dated May the 3rd, 2018. So he signed it, he should have signed it long before the 14th. And this doesn't necessarily show that he signed it, because if you zoom in, he's folding the paper where he should be signing. I don't think that's normal. See how he's even got a paperweight? I don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's weird. And we have no copy of the signed marriage license. There's no actual showing of that. The only reason why I know it's the 3rd of May, and the only proof or evidence that you've got of the of this marriage license at all in public, that's been publicly shown, is by the Spectator. And it's say, did Harry and Meghan have a secret wedding? And I'm not going to accept all or manage these cookies. I don't like doing that. So I'm going to open up this picture for you so you can see for yourself. This image is taken from that same image I've shown you, because in the article it actually links you to that exact post on Twitter. And it's a bit questionable because of the non-pixelation, or just how clear this is and detailed it is, to be honest with you. I think they received an actual official image of the faculty office and of Della so-called supposedly signing this marriage license. But you can see here that rather than signing the certificate, the license, and showing proof of that, that Della is folding the sheet. I've never seen anyone fold such a, in a way, sacred, legitimate document of consent by royal warrant, or marriage license by royal warrant, because this stuff, you can see from the calligraphy, this would have been done by the College of Arms. So, yeah, anyway, I find that very, very odd, and we have no proof that it was ever signed by the registrar of the faculty office, certifying that second step. So the first step may not have been certified or certifiable and valid, and the second step may not be certifiable and valid regarding this royal marriage. And as you can see here, 3rd day of May in the year of our Lord. So that, yeah, strange, very strange. So the third point of legitimizing this royal wedding is the ceremony and signatures in the church. The point that with witnesses and often senior royals or close family members signing the marriage register, the couple also need to sign the marriage register. That was not seen in the video of the wedding. You just see them go off with Prince Charles. I don't think you even see, I'm actually watching it now, and I just want to see if even the Queen goes. Wow. Prince Charles and Doria Raglan are the only ones that go authenticate this marriage. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it still matters. Anyway, you see them go off. So there's I think 1 hour 51 minutes into the 2 hour 35 minute wedding. You see them go off and sign this marriage register supposedly, but you don't actually see it happening. So you see you just see all these couples walking, looking around. You see Chelsea Davy or whatever her name is. You see a guy playing violin or cello. And these pictures were presented to us by Sussex Royal website after a year, so a year anniversary. And this is the only 2 images. It's through a video, a 1-year anniversary video. These are the 2 images that we have as proof that they signed a register. I do not know if they've signed a register. It's very, very blurred, and I think it's with intention that these images are blurred. That looks to me that she doesn't have a wedding on her actual finger. She looks like she's got a wedding ring on her middle finger. It looks very strange to me. It looks possibly photoshopped. It's just too blurred to really recognize. Whether or not she's meant to sign down the bottom, I'm not sure. I haven't looked at a marriage register. And we haven't seen the real deal, so it's difficult to comprehend. I do find it fascinating that even in the image shown of Harry, his wedding finger isn't shown, and it looks very intentional. Why you would have that not shown and looked into this kind of like window or whatever, it's odd. I don't know if this is official, this book. I don't know anything about it, but that's all we've got where they're signing away with the Archbishop Justin Wellesby, who's now did he forced to resign or did he get dismissed? Either way. We also have the idea or the notion that Wellesby wasn't even at the church. He had another event. I will just put that there because I know someone will bring it up. So that's also a note to kind of bear in mind, that he said he wasn't there on that date or was away at a different event for the wedding. So also another strange situation. So after the ceremony, the couple signs the official marriage register or certificate in the presence of the officiating clergy and witnesses. This step formalizes the marriage in both religious and civil terms. Witnesses, often senior royals or close family members, also sign the document to authenticate it. And then there is the number 4, the fourth point. So we don't know, this third point in conclusion, we don't know if this is official, if this is legitimate, if they signed the actual book, if they didn't, if they folded the sheet like the registrar did for the marriage license, we don't know. This is as good as we get when it comes to that proof. The fourth point is civil registration. The marriage must also be registered with the General Register Office, GRO, for civil recognition. The signed marriage certificate is submitted to the GRO to ensure the union is legally recorded. Before we move on to the fourth and last point, I have actually looked at both Fergie and Andrew and the Queen and Philip's marriage certificate, marriage register signing with the witnesses in the presence of. It's very strange because here you have so many witnesses listed. Just bear in mind the last images I've just shown you, Nut was signing the bottom of the page. Irrespective of where this section was listed on the page, if it was done the bottom half of the page, she wouldn't be signing down the bottom of the page. She'd be signing here, just here. So that is definitely not legitimate. She has not signed her marriage register, proving number 3 also is not valid and legitimate. Now, Harry signs literally halfway on the page. It's still really not there because it would be like literally above if it was even on that section. I question it, but it still could have happened. But Nut's signature down the bottom of the page, no, that would mean she was a witness. A witness of her own wedding. So yeah, that's definitely not what's taken place. Okay, so now we're up to number 4, the last point of the evidence of the wedding and the marriage by the GRO or the registry office. Now, I'm not sure if you can say that it's in the parish of within her castle at Windsor. Maybe it's to do with the location of Windsor. It's within a parish area or the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead. I am not too sure how that works, so I'm just going to leave that open. But what I've done is I've compared it to a 2016 copy of a marriage certificate, and I've also compared it to the marriage certificate of Camilla and Charles. And with a UK copy of a marriage certificate, it has to be listed underneath this coat of arms. It has to be listed pursuant of the Marriage Act 1949. It's not listed here. This is also, it's strange that it says given at the General Register Office. I'm not sure what that is. I think I've already gone through this in a different way, but I'm just going to add my 2 cents in from what I'm comparing with. Here, there's meant to be RTA, MCert, it has all this like warning, a certificate is not evidence of an identity. I don't know why you would have an application number listed there, to be honest. Application number, that's strange, but anyway, maybe it's correct. I'm just comparing here. If I go to literally I'm looking at Camilla and Charles's marriage certificate, a copy of it. It's pursuant Marriage Act 1949. It says all of everything what I've said. It has an AB and then a code up the top. It's completely different. So this header is completely not legitimate from what I can see, what I'm comparing it with. And then you've got the details here. So I think I'm just comparing. When it sets the name and surname of Harry compared to Prince Charles, they've literally got his full name. They've got His Royal Highness Prince Charles Philip Arthur George, the Prince of Wales. So they've put his full name there. And then they've said Prince of the United Kingdom. So, yep, that's true. And then the father's name is His Royal Highness, the Prince Philip, not just the Prince of Wales. That could be anyone, any Prince of Wales, you know, it doesn't. Yeah, you've got Charles there, so there hasn't been a full signature or a full real verification, if that makes sense. Yeah, and of course these are meant to be signatures. And still with the copy of the registration, you're meant to have signatures. You're not meant to just have that's so interesting. Yeah, sorry, to have Rachel and Henry typed up in the presence of Charles and Doria Ragland. Well, you don't know if that's her real name. You don't know if Rachel's her real name, but you've just got Charles, which is really, really, really odd. No signatures there. You can look up Camilla and Charles's signatures, and Philip and who else was there? A Major Bruce Middleton, Hope Shand. That's the guy who was the witness on her side, who signed it as well. All their signatures are there. It's all handwritten. So this is very, very odd. Married in the Queen's Free Chapel of St. George, according to the rites and ceremonies of the established church. So, yeah. I mean, I think I've gone into the actual codes and all of that stuff as well, but this is not looking exactly the same, and you can look it up yourself as well. Yeah, that's probably what I've got at this point. So this is also questionable, this form and this structure. I've looked into the coding, I think, of this, or I can't remember if it's the birth certificates of others or marriage certificates. I'm so sorry. It's just I've done a lot of research, but I think I've looked into the yeah, I'm sure I've looked into it before. I'll link to a video if I've got one. So that concludes point 4. So let's just surmise all together what we've considered. 1.1 Privy Council formal consent from the monarch. 2 special marriage license issued by the Faculty Office. Religious ceremony. Number 3, including the couple signatures in the marriage register. And 4, this one, the civil registration with the General Register Office. All have been questionable considering all these factors. Thanks so much.